Hey fellas, my name is Chris, and today we're going to be talking about the FNAF YouTube news channel that's been lying to you for about 4 years. So I've been meaning to make a video on FNAF news channels for a while now. I personally have done some FNAF news in the past, but there's a lot of channels that's basically their exclusive content. There's FuhNaff, there's Scottworld, there's a couple of these channels, and those are the two I want to talk about today, specifically Scottworld, because something has come up that is very interesting. Now these guys are already pretty controversial because they use a lot of clickbait a lot of the time, and that was mainly what I was going to talk about, is how they use just a fair bit of clickbait, and how it's gotten them large audiences, but also a large amount of people who just really don't like them. But then I stumbled across something else that I thought was very interesting. Before we get to that, let's actually take a look at these channels' content, just in case you don't know who these guys are, and what they actually do. So here is FUhNaff. This is run by a guy named John, and he's recently shown up, I believe in the past year is when he first started popping up on the website, and since then he has just been blowing up, and it seems like he's kind of tapered off now, but for a while he was growing really rapidly, and that is mostly due to his thumbnails and his titles. You can see things about Markiplier influencing the future of Five Nights at Freddy's, like 4 times by the looks of things. FNAF 4 being solved, which did not happen. MatPat helping to make the FNAF movie, which is a thumbnail he used twice and briefly changed it the second time. Just stuff that is generally a little bit frowned upon on YouTube in general. But that's okay, you know, he can make the content he wants, and we're not here to tell him otherwise. And if people like that, that's okay. That's their decision to watch the content, even if we may disagree and think that maybe it's a bit sketchy. Things do get a bit more interesting, however, once we get to Scottworld. Scottworld is another FNAF news channel. Now, at first glance, it may look like this is an official channel for Scott Cawthon, but don't worry, it is made very clear that that is not the case. This is not Scott Cawthon, and to give this channel credit, they make sure to tell you that, whether that's because they fear legal action or just because they want to set the record straight, we don't know. In the very channel banner here, the first thing you'll probably see when you go to the channel, it mentions, yes, my name is Scott, but we're not Scott Cawthon. Yes, the channel's verified, but we're not Scott Cawthon. If you read this, but only call me Scott, News Cadet, call Arctic Ballora. Okay, so I can't really understand what they're saying. They make it very clear that they are not Scott Cawthon, and I appreciate that. Again, there's a lot of clickbaits and just weird stuff in these videos, like whatever this is. Okay, so a little on the odd side, but you know, again, they're making the content they want to make, and there's nothing wrong with that. We can't fault them for that. So I started doing a bit more digging, you know, to see exactly why people really dislike these channels so much, and what I found was something really surprising. At first, it was just kind of a crazy fan theory. See, on Reddit, someone actually posted an image about a half a year ago about these channels and how they don't like the clickbait going on, and you know, that's fine. It's all valid opinions to have about this content. What's interesting is in the comments, the creator of the Pop Goes FNAF fan game, and also one of the most widespread spreaders of news in the community, Pop Goes. You know, he has a whole Twitter account where he just shares FNAF news as it comes out, often before anyone else does. And he says that apparently these channels actually just generally copy and paste his tweets and just make them into a video form, or just steal images that Pop Goes uses. They got into an actual argument about this. He talked to them about this and asked if they could maybe give credit to him for finding all this stuff. And they did for a little while before they stopped. And this is where an interesting fan theory comes in that maybe will get your mind going. Actually, it's not really much of a theory, it's more just stated like a fact. J.K. Bism says that FNAF and Scottworld may in fact be the same person. Now, a quick little research will tell you that this is not the case. Not only is Scottworld's grammar, as I pointed out, just so much worse, but Scottworld is actually confirmed to be run by someone named Scott Keegan. You'll remember, here Scottworld mentions, yeah, my first name is Scott, but I'm not Scott Cawthon. And in the About section of the channel, it's mentioned that his name is Scott Keegan. In fact, if you look here, it actually looks like this channel is run by a whole company. We've got 2 editors, we've got the CEO, we've got the COO, Chief Operating Officer. Yeah, so apparently this channel is actually run by an entire company. Really weird, especially considering this channel, while it is a big channel, does only have like 300,000 subscribers, which is not enough to sustain 4 whole people full-time. I know this. Maybe they're all kind of working part-time as like a side thing, and maybe they have other jobs on the side. I could see that being the case. This is also really weird considering how the editing is not always the greatest, and all this was really strange and kind of foreshadowing the fact that this is all a lie. Scottworld is not run by an entire team, and Scott Keegan doesn't exist. There is no person named Scott Keegan, at least not that runs this channel. Kimberly Davis may exist, maybe Carlos Joez, possibly, but the one person who I know for a fact does exist and who I know has run this channel since the beginning is the editor, Hoagie Lee. Who is Hoagie Lee? This person is running the entire channel, and while you may not know this because it's supposedly run by Scott Keegan, Hoagie Lee has actually been the one pulling the strings the entire time. And we can tell this by just looking at the very first video on the channel. The very first video on the Scottworld YouTube channel is called Double Self with Mirror. It's just a fun little visual effect thing that this person's playing around with. And at the very beginning of the video, what you'll hear is,
"Hello everybody, my name is Hoagie Lee. Welcome to Bitchmore."
This is the guy who ran the Scottworld channel from the very beginning. And it just happens to be a big coincidence that now it is run by someone whose name is also Scott, and who has taken over the channel, with Hoagie Lee being left as just an editor behind the scenes. I don't think that that's true. I think, and so did Kane Carter here, that the reason this channel is said to be run by someone named Scott Keegan is to avoid a lawsuit, or something worse. You see, the channel, after all, it is named Scottworld. It is claiming to be run by someone named Scott. Probably. And that's why a lot of people have assumed that it was Scott Cawthon's channel, even with the absolutely nightmarish stuff that they put on this channel. And the channel is verified, which you'd think would mean it is confirmed to be run by someone named Scott. If your channel is verified, your identity is confirmed. This is who you are. And so to be able to be verified, and to be able to possibly not run into legal action that some other third party might take, like Scott himself, you have to be Scott to run a channel named Scottworld. So what did they do? Here's my theory. They created, Hoagie Lee and possibly these other two, if they do exist, created a fake identity, Scott Keegan. Scott Keegan himself never shows up in these videos. We've never seen him. We've seen Hoagie Lee. We might have seen the others in here somewhere, but we've never seen Scott Keegan. Scott Keegan is mentioned nowhere other than in this specific channel. And the fact that this channel is apparently run by Scott Keegan is something that was only publicized after Scottworld got into this controversy, which makes me think that they were trying to avoid backlash. So it is entirely possible, and I would say very likely, that Scottworld is still run by Hoagie and not by Scott at all. I don't think Scott Keegan even exists. And I mean, that's basically it. I just want to show that there is something sketchy going on with these channels. FNAF may be just clickbait. Scottworld, something much more. Scottworld is actively in this tug-of-war contest trying to avoid being called out for not being the person they claim they are, and this can only go on for so long. Who knows when the truth will actually come out, but Scottworld has a very dark secret, and I think we just uncovered it. If you know anything more, let me know. I'd love to look into this deeper. Scottworld has 54 videos and a second channel, apparently, and who knows what could be in all of these. But in case you're not convinced yet, I have one more piece of evidence to support this theory. Other than just the videos not being super highly edited, which suggests that one person made it, I would know. I make all my videos myself, and the editing isn't always the best, and that's because it's just me. There is one other hint that makes me think that this channel is still run by Hoagie, and that Scott Keegan doesn't exist. And that is that the location of this channel is in Indonesia. I looked it up, and Hoagie Lee is an Indonesian name. Scott Keegan is not. Scott Keegan is a very American-sounding name. Kimberly Davis, also a very American-sounding name. Carlos is a bit more ambiguous, but the bottom line is it definitely seems like Hoagie is still running this channel. I can't confirm this. Sadly, I would love to actually know for sure and not just be spreading what I believe to be an educated guess, but the evidence highly supports it, and if there's anything more I'm missing here, please let me know. I would love to actually get to the bottom of this. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you very soon. That's about it. Bye-bye.